actually here at the moment, because I'm seeing that there's supposed to be 6 of you. I have no idea who's missing at the moment. I'm assuming that it's Luke who's missing. You guys know Luke by any chance? Okay, that's it. And I'm guessing that this is the full cohort. Brilliant. So welcome to this class. I assume that you know very little of what's about to happen, aside from the fact that there's visual design written over there. And so what we're going to do is I will be asking you guys a little bit about yourself, so we get to know each other. Most probably you already got to know each other over the months, but obviously I would like to get to know you a bit, because I'm only going to see you online for the rest of the term. And then obviously I will also tell you something about myself and who I am, and then we'll start off with our course. So basically, visual design is divided into two. There's visual design 1 and visual design 2. The first visual design, which is this one, which is basically for first years, is more of a theoretic idea and a very discursive idea and a very argumentative idea, and also a philosophical idea of artistic principles that are used in manipulating the gaze of the individual. So later on we'll get to know exactly what the gaze is. And basically, in short and brief, it would be basically where the viewer or the user is looking at that particular moment in time. It's obviously much more than that. It goes a bit deeper in the sense that we will be asking ourselves some philosophical questions, we'll be asking ourselves some theoretical questions, we'll be learning some theoretical elements as to why and how art exists, and particular principles of art and particular elements of art. And why are we talking about art in the first place? Because we obviously are talking about the visual, and the visual can only be depicted in some type of artistic sense. Now, art is a big word. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Joe.
All right.
I'm just checking if you have everyone.
Yes, I have 6 people, so I'm assuming that's everyone according to intranet.
4, 5, 6. Okay.
Okay, John.
Good night. Enjoy your lecture.
I wish. That would be great.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Have a good one. Yes, as I was saying, art is a very complex word. Although it's just a 3-letter word, it's a very complex word. And I will also be asking about your idea of art without me tampering with what you think about it in principle. So so that's just a very brief introduction where I have said a lot, but I have said very little in reality. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go over the attendance to see that everyone's here, present and alive and kicking. There's an Alexandru Tofan, which is not a new name. Alexandru, I have met you somewhere, or I know you from somewhere. Or I have seen your name somewhere, perhaps. Would you care to explain perhaps the possibility of where I have met you? Do you know me? Have you ever met me? No? No. 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 Your name is not new. Your name is not new. Absolutely not. I remember that name because it's a particular name, Alexandru Tofan. What nationality are you? Romanian. And, and you've been living in Italy for a long while, I'm assuming. Okay. And currently you're living in Malta, or are you studying from? You're living in Malta. Super. Alexandru, that's okay. We don't know each other. We'll get to know each other. Alexandru, what is it that you do in life? I'll be asking you these questions. Obviously, if you guys feel that I'm being impertinent and there's no way you're going to answer my questions, just be free. Just say so. All right. I won't mind. I won't be offended or anything. Trust me. You have all the right not to answer my questions. It's like when you're arrested. Everything that you say will be used against you, and that kind of stuff, you know. So, Alexandra, what do you do in life? And so the questions are these: what do you do in life, and why are you doing this particular course? You are in a diploma computing level one. Then we have Brigitte, who is doing games development. Then we have Gavin, who's doing, I don't know what you're doing, Gavin. It's a CWWD. What's that?
It's a web development course. It
Okay,
continues
all right.
this year.
Oh, yes. All right, web development, interesting also, and I will be telling each and every one of you where my subject fits. Okay, but we'll much more of that later. We have a Jamie who's also games. We have Luke who's also games, and Maria. So we have a predominance of games. It seems we have quite a dominance of females because it's very unusual to have not nearly 30% of the class that is females. Very good. Good for you guys. Is it 30%? No, it's more than 30% of the class that's female. Brilliant. And we have a predominance of games people. Interesting. It's usually it's the other way around. Okay, back to Alexandra. Alexandra, what is it that you do, and why did you choose this course, if I may? Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, where do you think this course is going to leave you? Is going to lead you? Mm-hmm. No. The full course. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. So you thought things very well, and it seems okay. That's very interesting, actually. It's very interesting, actually. Alex, what are your hobbies? And do you consider yourself an artistic person in some way or another? It could be anything. I remember art includes music, it includes sculpture, it includes anything really. It includes filmography, videography, photography. All right. So, what are your hobbies? What do you like doing when you don't have anything to do? You're not working. It could be simply just sitting down and switching on Netflix. And do you consider yourself in some way or another an artistic guy? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you what again? Okay. I've never seen anything, but I can imagine what it is, and I'll be looking into it to enhance my knowledge of what's going on in this world. Uh-huh. So you are, in a way, an artistic person, in a way, in a very rough and general way. Mm-hmm. Yes. That is definitely something which can be very much artistic. Okay. Do you control them yourself, or do you use applications, or do you do them on software? What is it exactly that you do? You edit them on software via your PC. Okay. Right. Okay. So it's much more hands-on. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So it's much more hands-on. It's not simply getting an application, an iPhone application, and just letting it do all the work. Brilliant, Alexandru. Thank you so much. That was very nice of you sharing with us who you are in a way, in a very general way. But at least I get to know more about my students and how my subject will fit with your life. Thank you, Alexandru. Next in line, Bridget. You had a bit of an advantage on Alexandru because I've been, let's face it, I've literally bombarded Alexandru with questions that no one else had heard before. But Bridget, in a way, you are a bit prepared. I'm
I am?
assuming you're not Maltese.
No, I'm
You're
Dutch.
national. You are
Dutch from Holland.
Dutch. How interesting in that. Yes, 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 yes. I have not met that many Dutch people in my life. Yet, ironically, we do. A lot of Maltese people like to have the vacations in Holland. So, a particular part of Holland, we tend to forget that there's a Holland. It's only Amsterdam for us. I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's just hilarious how you can just remember one small town and then forget that there's a whole beautiful country behind it. Bridget, can you tell me something about yourself? Again, same questions as Alexandru, basically. What you're doing, where you're aiming to go with your particular degree, which is games development, which again is a very, very interesting concept, especially knowing you're a female. Now, I do not mean anything racist by this, please, anything which has to do with gender inequality. I'm just very happy that when I see girls actually taking on this course. And in fact, one of our graduates, Ruth, is currently doing a project with us, with some of the lecturers in the IT department. So, and that's because she was one of the most promising graduates in this course, which is really awesome. So, Bridget, floor is yours.
Well, I have a background in accounting because my mind is comfortable with numbers and logic. And I chose accounting because I was practical, because I knew everywhere they need accountants at the moment, and I thought it was the smartest move for me at the time. But if I was being honest with myself, it's not what I really want to do. This is what I really want to do. So I'm choosing this course to change jobs, to develop games. I mean, that's the dream, no? I mean, at least it is for me.
Okay, no, you're following.
Sorry?
It's amazing when you have the time, when you have the possibility, when you have the sort of, you can actually try to make your dreams a reality when you're actually following your dreams, not just keeping them there as dreams locked up in some closet somewhere, in some box somewhere. Good. Yes, with regards to hobbies, what you like doing in your free time, and if you consider yourself an artistic person, I think you already partially answered that because you're more of a mathematical individual, it seems. But would you
Yes.
care to elaborate?
Well, in the typical art you think of, like, visual, if I'm honest, I don't really draw, I don't paint or anything like that, but I do like writing stories, fiction. I don't know if that counts as artistry.
Of course it does. In fact, let's face it, when you have a visual artist who is, let's say, more of a painter or someone who's drawing, or someone who is creating something on Photoshop or whatnot, at the end of the day, isn't he in a way developing a written story of sorts? In fact, one of the topics that we'll be doing is what we call in layman terms the comic. Okay, one of the topics is comics. So we will be dealing with the story of the comic, where the comic came from, where it developed, where it went. And it's extremely interesting because it's one of the most underestimated visual arts that exist currently in the whole world. And in fact, one of the assignments, actually, the assignment that I'll be giving you, a part of the assignment is to write a story.
Hey,
You're
oh, that's
wrong.
nice.
That, so already it seems that you're quite happy. I managed to put you on a positive note there.
Definitely.
But you need to write a short story and then develop it into something else. Now, I will be telling you more about that at a later time and date. Okay, continue telling me about your hobbies and such. Mhm.
Hobbies. I do like being active. I did the grid not too long ago. I don't know if you know what that is. It's this obstacle course thing, and I really, really want to run a marathon at one point in my life. I did the half marathon the last time it was held, and I was hoping to train for a real marathon, but I had to have knee surgery, and it's probably going to be postponed because of COVID anyway. But that's the dream still, so that's something I would like to work towards as well.
Very good. Very good. Impressive, really.
Well,
Interesting.
I haven't done it yet, but I would like to.
Yeah, but it's good to have what do you call it? Something with the bucket, a bucket list. You know,
Yes,
it's good to have a bucket list, and it's not. Well, it's good not just having a bucket list. Obviously, it's good to also start doing the things which you have in your bucket list. But at least your bucket list seems much more interesting than mine, much more exciting than mine at the moment. That is. Okay, thank you so much for sharing with us again.
Thank you.
Brigitte, that was extremely interesting. And next in list, we have a Gavin Borge. Gavin, I'm assuming you're Maltese. So what is it that you do, Gavin, and why do you want to go into web development?
Hi. Basically, I work in finance right now, but I'm more on the IT side. I started originally working in finance because I had studied accounting and marketing. And once I actually, I'm pretty mathematical in that way, but once I actually got into the job, it started becoming a little bit too technical for me, and I decided to go for something which I already had experience with, which was IT. And I decided to go into web development because I wanted like a mix of in between finance and IT, because they both interest me, and I wanted something that can sort of tackle both and help in that way, I guess.
Okay. Sounds cool. Actually, I'm seeing a lot of job movements. You know, actually not just job movements, but even the style of job, the type of job. It's not just, for example, moving up or down. It's actually moving away from something and specifically into something else. It's very interesting. You're all of you quite young, so this is like the best moments to do these moves. Plus, you will also be adventuring into different tastes and getting a taste of so many different things at the same time, which is really cool. And there is the opportunity of it, obviously, today, unlike 20, 30 years ago. Gavin, what do you like doing when you don't have anything serious to do, when you're free, like? And do you consider yourself in any way possible artistic? For example, Brigitte writes stories, and that is definitely super artistic. You know, it's not easy writing a story. It's not easy writing changing the story into a storyboard, for example. So there's definitely an artistic element. So tell us about yourself.
I guess when I have free time, the little that I do, I do some reading, and I'll just watch whatever is up, either Netflix or or YouTube, I guess. Not much free time with a full-time job, unfortunately.
Okay, no, perfectly acceptable because I'm very similar. Once I shut shop, basically all I want to do is just put my feet up and just switch on the telly.
Exactly the same.
I don't want to read anything else, and I've got like tons of books that I need to read. But I've promised myself that when I age a bit more than I'm already aged, and I hope that I age graciously. But that's another thing. Then I will have time to catch up on all the reading that I'm planning. But otherwise, definitely, I'm not doing any more reading. But I'm just resting myself.
Honestly, what helped for me is just catching up on comics and manga to read instead. Just to actually have like something more visual rather than actual text, because my full-time job is data analyst, and it's a lot of reading.
Okay, so you like comics and you like manga.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you like specifically manga from comics, or you read all comics, but manga is
I
just
read
one?
mostly on the manga side. I do read some comics. I've read some Marvel comics, but I haven't really delved so deep into that.
Okay, okay. No, it's very interesting actually what you're saying. First of all, because as I said, one of the topics that I'll be tackling is sequential art, more known as comics, basically. That's what we call them. But scientifically, academically, they're called sequential art because it's art which is created in a sequential way, in a sequence, and it actually tells a story of sorts. You know, there's
Okay.
actually words, there's a follow up, there's it's a story, there's a sequence, so sequential art. So that most probably will be of interest to you if you like comics. For the people who have no idea what manga is basically the Japanese version of comics, because comics have developed in different ways all over the world. We have the Indian comics, we have the Japanese comics, we have Italian comics, French comics, American comics. We have trade paperbacks. We have different styles, which we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about different, not just styles, but different artists also, different comic artists. It's going to be super interesting, and I'm assuming that it will be a break from the usual subjects that you have at school. I'm sure it will. Thank you, Gavin. It was very interesting what you everything that you told me, especially the part obviously about the comics, because I know that if you appreciate them, then most probably you do have a hidden artistic side somewhere. Great, thank you, Kevin.
Thanks.
Next in, I said Gavin, not Kevin, just in case it sounded like Kevin. Uh,
Don't worry about it.
Jamie Camilleri. Jamie, you're also doing games development, Jamie. Would you like to share with us part of your story? Who you are, where you're looking to go, and something about your hobbies and if you're artistic or not.
So basically, at the moment, I work on stone restoration, something completely different.
It is,
Um,
but it's artistic. That's artistic,
I-
I'm assuming, because
yes.
you need
I
to have
do
an
that.
eye for detail.
Sorry.
You need to have an eye for detail.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, I consider that, like it's a part of it's art. When I go to someone's house and I visualize, how it's going to be, and like mix and match certain like details with the rest of the house. So yes, I mean, I consider myself a bit artistic, and I do landscaping as well.
Okay,
Um,
also very, very, very artistic because obviously you need an eye for to as you said to try to imagine what exactly is going to happen with something which is not there, literally. It's like having a
exactly.
blank canvas. Hmm.
And I
Bro,
took game design because basically I was always my passion for games. I've been playing since I've been 6 years old. Since
mhm.
I remember, I've been playing games, and I want to find a job, maybe, and even if it's like not necessarily on games. I mean something on uh, on coding basically. But what I want is to like advance in game design.
Mhm.
That's my aim.
Brilliant, brilliant. So you're aiming for coding because you know that from what you've been telling me, seeing that you work in stone restructure and you work in landscaping, and it seems that you try to envision a lot what is going to happen, and then you make it happen. So I'm
Yeah.
seeing you very much also not in game design, not just as a coder, but also as a designer per se, as actually designing the events of the game, the
Yeah.
pattern of the game, the sequence of the game. So that could also be a niche that you might be good at. Just a suggestion, obviously.
Yes, in fact, as I said yesterday in my lesson, basically, because I
With
wa-
John.
I'm not sure. Yes, I'm not sure if I'll go more on the design or more on the development because I mean I like designing. I tried Unity and I tried Blender. I was thinking of buying a drawing tablet. I mean, I consider myself more artistic, but I like the development as well. I want to be like all rounder in a way.
Yes, and in fact, one of the things that you need to keep in mind is that if you plan to work in Malta, okay, in Malta we tend to most of the companies, well, most of the smaller, because in Malta we have most of the smaller companies rather than the larger AAA companies. They tend to look more for general individuals who have a good idea of coding, a splatter of art, for example, a splatter of storyboarding, and so on and so forth. And even if you decide to stick to one particular thing in game design, it's good that you also have the knowledge of what is going on in the other sectors of game design, because you will have a much better idea of how to overlap and how to help other sectors within the industry that you're working in. طيب. Hobbies.
Basically, I'm a musician. I play bass. I'm in a band.
Okay.
But that doesn't become a hobby. It's more like a lifestyle. Music is something. Yes, I mean it's something that I don't really consider as practice. You know, it's like doing my time, finding something. You know, what I enjoy doing. And it's not necessarily because I'm a bassist. I mean, I love music. I play drums. I play guitar. I compose music. Me and my friends, obviously, I'm in a band.
Okay.
And
Would you mind telling me the band, Jamie?
Vintage Brew, it's called.
Advertisement.
Sorry?
Consider it as free advertisement.
Vintage Brew.
Vintage Brew. And your style would be?
We play blues, blues rock, some jazz. And I have another project with another band. It's more on the metal side, like rock.
Okay. I just found your Facebook page. Vintage Brew. There you are. Brilliant. Interesting.
Yes, we play gigs in bars around the mall, especially in Valletta and Bargeville sometimes.
Do you have stuff on YouTube? I might.
Yes. We have, even on Spotify we have some songs.
Oh, you play Cheeky Monkey. Cheeky Monkey actually belongs to one of my ex-students.
Yeah, we played a gig. We had a gig there 2 weeks ago.
Okay, I forgot her name right now. It's her, because it's a girl and a guy. I forgot her name. I used to teach her a long time ago. I used to teach her when I used to teach in secondary school. So I'm saying roughly about 15 years ago.
All right.
And they opened this very cute place in Valletta. Oh, Cheeky Monkey is the one in Valletta. Am I saying it right or not? Wait. No.
Bay. Cheeky
Yeah.
Monkey.
Yeah, my bad. No, it's not Cheeky Monkey. It's this place in Valletta, and they used to have a lot of gigs, a lot of rock gigs. I forgot the name of the place. Sorry.
If it's in Valletta, probably. I mean, but there are every bar now. They do live music
because obviously it attracts patrons.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't like that, but now it's getting.
Sorry, Jamie.
Sorry. It wasn't like that. Now it's getting better. Oh, at least. I mean, now COVID, but before COVID, there were gigs. So.
Thank you, Jamie. That was again very interesting. You have a very varied lifestyle, and I must say that if I were to say that you're artistic, it would be an understatement, because obviously you have a lot of art inside you that yearns to be heard, mostly, let's say, and also seen, because you know. Overall, you're all about different aspects of art, perhaps not in the most traditional ways, but there it is. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next in the list is in my list, that is, we have a Luke and we have a Maria. Shall we start with gentlemen first? Luke Matthäus Vella Cassia. That's quite a mouthful, Luke. Something about yourself?
It is, yes. Usually the Matthews or Matthaus, it's out of the out of the
It's not
that
there.
no one usually pronounces it. So it's like
Most
fluke.
probably got forgotten in through life, through the development of life. It got forgotten some way.
Yes. Actually,
And
I started writing it down. I think it was Form 3 to just because I discovered it was there.
okay. It's an interesting name. It is Germanic sounding.
Yes, my father is an Inter supporter. So Lothar Matthäus was a great footballer for
I mean,
Inter.
right. Okay. I am an Inter fan of sorts also, but started in 1995, so definitely after your father was a
So
fan.
tonight you're going to watch the game, yes? Inter
Uh,
Juve.
Sadly not, because obviously I have to take, but I'm going to watch bits and pieces because I need to take my son somewhere, then I need to go back for him, family duties.
All right. Yes.
Then I have my
Priorities.
3-year-old who needs to be. Yeah, too many family duties running around. So please think about what's that part of your if you want to stop living or not. In a way, I have stopped living within the sense of what I want to do. It's what everyone else wants to do, and what I want to do is left for last usually. But thank God you can record games now and you can see them at a later date in bits and pieces. That's how I watch things. Mela, look, you are doing what currently and where do you want to go? And last two questions would be what hobbies do you have? And ultimately, do you consider yourself in any way possible or remotely artistic?
So currently I'm a police officer.
Wow, okay. I have to be careful what I say.
Yeah, so
It
when
will
you
be used
started
against
saying,
me.
yeah, so when you started saying that what we can have the right to do not answer the questions, I was like, oh, flashback.
It's ringing a bell.
So I'm doing the game design and development course. I'm doing it mostly for fun, just because I'm interested in games, just like a hobby. Um, in the future, I don't know whether it will be opportune to change careers. It has to be rather enticing to lose the 25-year service to change careers.
Exactly. How long have you been a police officer, if I may?
10 years now.
10 years already, so you still have 15 to go in a way.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's say 14 because the last year would be mostly leave and termination and everything. So, as like hobbies, I have watching games, football, obviously. Sometimes I watch TV series online, Netflix, anime. I like a lot.
Okay. Anime for those people who might not know is the film version of manga. So manga would be the comics, and then when they changed into films, into series, on the small screen, then that is what we call anime.
So I
Mm-hmm.
watch. I have sometimes I read manga as well as
What's your
manhwa.
favorite anime, if I may? Look,
Sorry.
what's your favorite anime or manga?
So recently, I think it's Naruto Shippuden.
Okay, the never-ending one.
No, it's finished. Not
I
Boruto.
know, but still it's never-ending because similar to, for example, there's another
One Piece is
One Piece is
never ending.
exactly
Never ending for
also,
sure.
and there was also another one about this demon, Inuyasha. Inuyasha is also, it has about 600 episodes, also 650 episodes. Like
It's at least apart from Naruto that I watched, I think I'm watching it for the second or third time. I think.
yeah, okay.
They are quite short. Other series, cause
Yes.
and the fact that I have to wait a week to just watch one episode, it's like
It's hell.
torture.
I can imagine. It's what also, for example, Amazon has that thing. For example, the thing about I like about Netflix is that you can actually binge because they just put everything there and then it's up to you when to watch them. Amazon has this concept of doing it on a weekly basis like HBO, which doesn't really fit my style, as you say.
Yes.
Are you artistic?
No, I don't think so, to be honest. I
But you
mean,
appreciate art.
yes, actually, yes. I when I travel, I do go to museums to see art, and I don't like abstract art. That's for sure.
Okay, what we
I
call
see it
modern
as
art,
way too
contemporary
abstract.
art. Okay, all right.
I don't like it. I'm very a bit hateful towards it. But
I'll
otherwise,
be challenging your opinion very soon, if I might.
I went to a couple of museums recently. I saw it was quite a waste of time.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're trying to say. Totally understand it, because some art appears to be a total waste of time, deprecatory towards the art itself, because it seems like it is totally useless. Not just useless, but it is in a way silly. So I do not blame you, but I will be asking you a couple of questions as we move along and with one of my presentations. And I might, because obviously I do not know how it will result, I might be able to veer your hatred into something different, into acceptance, perhaps. It doesn't mean that you will hate it less, but you will hate it while accepting its existence, which is something that I would like you to understand.
Yes,
But
yes.
you'll
But
see.
for
You'll see
example,
exactly what I mean.
I went recently. I was in Madrid and I saw the museum where the Guernica is of
Yes, Picasso. Mhm.
I saw a lot of people watching this painting, which is huge. Okay, it's huge,
It is.
but
It's a whole room.
I could not understand what the hype was about.
Mhm.
I really could not. I'd rather watch.
Comments now.
No,
I'm not going to comment now. Look, if I may, for one simple reason, because I do not want to look as if I'm trying to defend that style or defend that art. And in fact, I'm not. I don't want to defend anything, but I will be asking you a couple of questions to get you thinking. That's what I'll be doing very soon, sooner than you actually think. Okay.
Okay.
Look, thank you for that. I do not hate you at all because you don't like certain aspects of art. Anzi, I will take you as a challenge and we'll see what happens in due process. I'm looking forward, if I may. You have an interesting lifestyle, if I may. And it's what I liked about is that you're doing your games development as fun rather than with any aims for the future. And I believe that is a good way of doing it because you're not putting any pressure on yourself. And then whatever happens, which is great in a way. Prosit, Luke. Thank you. Last but not least, we'll have Maria Mikalev. Maria. Our
Hi.
email doing games development. Please tell me something about yourself. Meaning that is where you're at. I'm guessing that you know the questions by now. Where you think
Yes.
hobbies, and off you go.
Well, basically, I don't think I'd be saying anything new from the others, because I'm currently working at a bank at the Department of Onboarding of Companies.
Mhm.
So you can imagine how stressful and how stressful that is. And in the past year, I've seen so many different types of jobs, and I tried to learn so many from those jobs, and I've moved from different departments. That, to be honest, the more jobs I get to experience at the bank, the more I realize that they're not for me. They are very stressful. They're not really all with real emotions. They just care about profit.
Yes.
So it's really not where I want to stay. That's for sure. So I've been addressing that question. So where should I go next? What should I do? And I realized actually that what I always liked was video games, playing actually anime and manga since I was a child. So it was always there, but I didn't actually, it took some time to realize. Sometimes,
yes.
yeah, it's a funny way how life turns out.
I totally understand you, Maya, if I may interrupt. I think it's because we have this society around us, which dictates in a way what we should be doing with life. If you work
Exactly.
as a lawyer, as a doctor, as a teacher, as a banker, as a policeman, as a financier, then you are safe because you're going to find a job, and then you'll get yourself a family, and that's it. All right, sort of the wheel continues turning. But society never tells us, you know what, the best thing that you could do, even if you fail at it, is something that you really like doing. Because obviously society doesn't want us to fail at something. Society wants us to just be part of the whole.
Yes, actually, to conform with the rest, basically.
Ex-
And it's not easy to challenge that because sometimes you may realize that you have a talent, but it may be a bit difficult to realize how you actually can make a profit of it, to actually work on it. So
Exactly.
so hopefully I'm in the right path, but I believe so because, as I said, it's like I always knew it, but for some reason I ended up in a different path, and basically, as you said, society, like even my family, they encouraged me to go like the usual path, to study and just go in the industry, the usual industry jobs. And but my heart isn't there at all. So I've been at the bank for only 3.5 years, and in those 3.5 years, I've seen and worked in around let's say 11 different types of jobs at the bank, and at none of them I really feel that that's what I want to do. I want to,
to entice you to remain at the bank. And I've been hearing this, Sigifiri, for a very long time. I teach also in business, to tell you the truth. I teach in the business department, and I've been hearing this also from people who are studying other business degrees to get away from the bank. Sigifiri, it's not just you. Okay, rest assured.
Actually, I think to everyone I talk to at the bank, basically they're not really happy with their situation. It's like everyone knows that it's a really stressful job, and you have to be in it to realize it. But it just sucks you in. It takes all your energy, and it's difficult to actually. Just when I arrive home and I need to attend a lecture, it's not easy, because it already took my energy out. But at the same time, then it recharges me when I'm during the lecture, even though I was exhausted just 5 minutes before. So, and that's why I had to do something about that. And actually, I already have a degree in information management and psychology, which after graduating, I ended up working at the bank. And I didn't really see myself pursuing basically that path either, because I like information management, like for example documentation, the fact that you can actually classify and catalog books. I love the organization aspect of things, whatever, or be it digital. But at the same time, I liked how that will impact people. So that's why I studied psychology. So basically, I have a bit of a complicated aspect for goal after this new degree. So basically what I want is actually to be able to find what I really actually like and be able to work on that, at least to make a living.
Yes, yes, that is one of the most important things. Automatically, today, let's face it, even if we try not to conform in the sense that we want to be freer, want to do what we like, but at the end of the day, we need to exist, we need to live, we need to live. One of the things I liked is that when you mentioned psychology is a very important part of game development that sometimes we underestimate.
Yes, it's really amazing. In fact, you said that you were going to ask us about art. In fact, for me, that's what I want to. What I want is to be able to create, like for example, like a video game or a board game, because I'm into board games a lot as well. So, and be able to inspire others and to have them have like immerse themselves in a new world, to actually have fun, and not just there are too many difficult stuff already going on in our lives, and I want actually to be able to create that something or be involved in something that actually helps them to distress, to actually have fun, to share it with others. That's actually what I'd like to do. It's an ideology, like for example, like what Bridget said, it's my dream, let's say it like that.
Very
But
good.
I, in a way, I do consider myself an artistic person, because I already mentioned video games and board games. I like to create, to crochet soft toys. So, and what else? Sometimes, although rarely this past year, because I focus more on games, manga, anime. Sometimes I like to create origami. Well, so sometimes I read books, be it non-fiction, sometimes even fiction. Like, for example, the last book I read was 2 days ago. It was a drama classic, like with the act. To appreciate like artistic stuff. So I think it was natural. I just didn't, really actually realize it before that I could actually work on that, because, I don't know.
Okay, no, don't worry about it. Lele, you definitely sound as an artistic person. Again, we need to understand the concept that being artistic person doesn't mean that you necessarily have to pick up a pencil and start drawing. Okay. So one thing I've noticed with regards to this class is that every one of you is in some way, right, artistic. But if I were to put you on a Likert scale, obviously you all range very vastly between the 0 and the 10. There are some of you who would be at 2, some of them who would be at an 8 or a 9. Okay, but the important thing is that you have a bit of an artistic idea. Thank you so much for divulging so much of your private life to me and to your colleagues. That was extremely interesting, if I might say. And basically what's left is for me to tell you something about myself as your lecturer and what will be happening in this course, and then we'll start off the second hour with the actual presentation that I will be presenting right now. I'm sharing my screen. So I will be now giving you an understanding, okay, so that's my screen. I'll be giving an understanding of what's going on in my Moodle, and yes?
I need to be added on Moodle because I don't have this course
Yes,
on Moodle.
I'm going to add everyone, don't worry about it, because not everyone is added yet. I think only the full-timers have been added as yet.
I just wanted to point it out. Thank you.
Thank you, actually. Please do point out anything that I might have missed out, because sometimes I either don't realize or I would know and I forget. Age is always a factor. So thank you for that. Brilliant. Mela, let's go on to my Moodle first. So that's my courses. Let's find Visual 1. This is Visual 1, 10329. And here we are. So this is my course. This is what you'll be seeing. Let me just enroll you immediately, so you can have immediate access. So I need to input in. So we have Alexandru. Okay, the moment I enroll you, can you please double check that you have access, please? So Alexandru have been enrolled. Then we have Bridget. Also enrolled, Bridget. Can you also double check? Then we have Gavin. Also enrolled, Gavin, thank you. Then we have Jamie Camilleri. That's the one. Enrolled also. Super. Yes, that's the one, Bridget. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Then we have Maria. And Maria's surname is Mikallef. Maria Mikallef. I just might as well write Mikallef because
it's really common.
Okay, there we go. This is you, right? Maria.
Yes.
Thank you. You're enrolled also. Thank you, Maria. And finally, Luke. Vella. Let me try like that. No. Luke Vella. No, let's just try Luke. Mela Luke. Matthaus Vella Cassia. Brilliant. There we go. Enroll also. And basically everyone should be enrolled by now. Am I correct?
Yes.
Super. Thank you guys. Mela, Visual 1, Visual Design 10329, Visual Narratives and Message Generation. Super. So this is what you will be seeing in your course. The first one is the nuances of the seeing in game creation. Let us not fall in the trap of assuming that this course is just for the game development people. We will be having a look at how visual assets can aid the relationship between your product, whatever you're doing, be it a game, be it a web design, be it a general user interface, whatever it is, how it will react and how it will communicate between the user and the machine, okay, the user and the program. So that is what we will be tackling. And remember that every program, every code needs a visual interface. Every code needs something visual for it to be able to present itself to the naked eye and to the public. Okay, so be it web design, be it game design, whatever it is, at the end of the day, it all amounts to one thing: creating a narrative of sorts which will aid the communication between object and human. Okay, so that's the first part, and that's what we're starting today. Then obviously I will be presenting your assignment, and the assignment is also quite interesting. I'll just give you a bit of an idea about the assignment. So the assignment is made out of 3 parts basically. The first part would be in writing a story, a short story. I'll be giving you more detail. Very short story, really. The second part would be to develop a storyboard. Okay, storyboard would be something. Now you might be asking me, but I don't know how to draw. How can I develop? And I'll be showing you examples of how your predecessors actually challenged this, took this challenge, and developed something which was really amazing. Okay, without any abilities in art, without being able to draw anything, I had individuals who managed to create something really enticing. And at the end, I would like you to do a very brief report on your experience. Okay, so it's a personal development report, and you're going to tell me about the process, what you did, about the thoughts that you encountered, about the feelings that you felt, about the problems that you encountered, about how you dealt and solved these particular problems. So it's going to be very much a personal development report on the project itself. So story, storyboard, and report. And the storyboard needs to obviously give a visual rendering of the story. So if we were to turn the story into a movie or into a series or something, obviously we need a storyboard. And to make the storyboard, obviously we need someone to do a visual description of how those words are going to be translated into images. Now, you will know that storyboards exist everywhere. Okay, be it as again a game, you definitely need a storyboard. Web design, you definitely need a storyboard. And anything which has to do with artificial intelligence at some point or another needs to be also storyboarded to see exactly what is going to happen, what are the results of particular actions, what happens if I do this, what happens if I do that, and so on and so forth. So technically speaking, we need to understand the very important factor that this whatever we're going to doing in the assignment is going to have a positive effect in your future, because it's going to, in a way, teach you of how to develop something in a visual way, which is going to aid the people you're going to work with, okay, in the future. So there's the storyboard and report. We'll not be having a second assignment, because that was something that I had experimented with a couple of years ago. Where I actually created a sequential art project also, but I think it was a bit too demanding. And this year, it was a very particular year where there were a lot of artists, so I deemed it to be very much approachable as an assignment. But in the following years, this year included, I would think that would be a bit too much. Obviously, you also have an exam. If I'm not mistaken, 70% of the mark is the project and 30% is the exam. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, that's how it stands. So technically speaking, there is much more importance given to the practical aspect rather than, yes, I'm actually answering that question right now, and I didn't see it actually being written, but that's what's happening. So it's 70-30. If I'm not mistaken, it's 70% for the project. Okay, so it's the story, the storyboard and the report, and 30% for the exam. So technically speaking, you still have to pass both. All right, this is one of the requirements, that you need to pass both. So you need to get 15% in the exam and 35% in the other. And technically that would be a 50. Yeah, 35 and 15. That would be a 50. So let me tell you that I think it's much better that it's formulated like that, because if you really take some interest in the development of the assignment, I assure you that usually the marks are graded quite high, because I see the effort that has been put into them. Okay. Okay, I need to hide some of the elements after I discuss them with you. So the first topic is what is art. That is something that we'll be dealing with very soon, as I said. Usually we have some practical aspects to the course, which we will not be having because we are online in a way. So we will not be doing things like perspective, but we'll be talking about it. But we won't be doing some hands-on. In the past I used to do a bit of hands-on of 1 point and 2 point and 3 point perspective and aerial perspective and linear perspective. But ultimately they are not considered one of the most important parts of the course, so don't worry about that. Then we'll be going into a bit of storyboarding and the aspects of storyboarding and how to develop a script into a storyboard or a story into a storyboard, so that I prepare you for the project per se. Then we'll be dealing with the comics. Okay, we have some stuff over here about creating comics, but obviously we'll not be needing it per se, because you will not have part of the assignment which is creating a comic strip. But obviously we will delve into it, so that you have an idea of how storyboards are changed into comics and what comics are. And this is the fourth topic, which is sequential art and graphic narratives. Then, if we have time, we'll delve into the history of animation. We won't have the time to delve into animation per se, because that's quite a demanding project and it's quite complex and very time consuming. But we'll be dealing with a bit of the history of animation, where did it come from and where does it stand at today. And finally, we'll be delving into a bit of character development, both the visual and also the practical side of character development. So what are the thoughts that should come into our minds, the questions that we should ask when we are creating a character? Where should we start off with about when we're creating a character, and so on and so forth. Why does this help? This will help us because ultimately, please remember that at the end of the day, we are creating things. Okay, so if you are a coder, if you are a sound pro, a sound editor, if you are an artist, if you are a game designer, whatever you are, if you are a web designer, whatever you are creating something to be used by an individual. So the first thing that you need to ask yourself is this: who is going to use my product? For whom is my product aimed? So if I'm creating a website, all right, if I'm creating a game, if I'm doing a user interface, whatever I'm doing, who is going to be the individual who's going to sit down and use it, who's going to sit down and experience it, all right? And only then can you start understanding what you need to involve in your project, what you need to involve in your creation. Okay, so if my user is blind, if my user is short, if my user is tall, if my user is illiterate, okay, then you start realizing that there are elements that you might not have considered if you do not create a character. So you need to create this particular character, and that is where then you need to aim your product towards being used by that character. So character development is going to also affect each and every one of you in this course, hopefully. And the last topic, which we also will not have time to do, most probably, but I still leave them here so that you can use the information and everything that I have created, would be the actual character design. Okay, this was again done when I had that very particular cohort, which was extremely artistic. And so, it was done when the course used to involve many more hours. So obviously, I used to get them to write a story, and rather, I used to give them a story, a very, very weird story, and then they needed to create a character from the story, literally from adjectives and actions and verbs and so on and so forth. And they use their imagination to create a character, and then we do it the other way around. Okay, so some interesting exercises that, who knows, we might have some time, and we might not. The last topic that we'll be doing would be visual narrative through film. I'm sure there was someone who said that they like creating. I think it was you, Alexandru. They like creating things with a camera. So we'll be talking about film. We'll be talking about the nuances of film. We'll be talking about creating film, about cameras, about lighting, about subjects in film. We'll be talking about lots of different things, and it's quite interesting actually. I'm sure. So we'll be dealing with several aspects of visual design, of visual art. Basically, we'll be dealing with film, with comics, and with traditional. Okay, so that's the Moodle part taken care of. Any questions, please?
What will we be using, or is it like for hand-drawn when it comes to, for example, creating characters? Because I'm curious what you can use.
In what sense, what you can use, please?
Programs. So, for example, like Maya, I think, Yoshim.
Mela. Okay, so technically speaking, my part in this project, because that's what you're saying is visual too. My part in this project, just to give you an introduction, a very basic introduction. So even if you are totally not artistic, even if you have never drawn anything, you will be literally forced, if we had time to do this, because most probably we'll just be doing the theoretic part. Okay, if we had time to do this, you most probably would have to put paper to pen to paper. All right, pencil to paper, literally.
All right.
Visual 2. Now, when you get to Visual 2, and that is going to be taught, I am relinquishing that subject to another individual, a certain Nick, and he's going to be teaching and taking it over from me, starting from this year, because I do not have time to teach it myself, because we're even extending the hours. Usually it was 4 hours, now we're making it into 6 hours, because it takes a lot of practice. And at that point in time, then, yes, you will be introduced to Photoshop, you'll be introduced to InDesign, you'll be introduced to other software which will help you. You'll be also taught how to use a tablet, and you will have the chance to be able to transfer anything which is drawn onto a virtual screen, and from then on you start creating whatever you want, literally to the limits of your imagination, if there are any limits to your imagination. So that will be visual. Okay.
All right, because that's what I mean. I like to draw. I can't, on paper I'm not good, but I believe that maybe on a software and on a drawing tablet, maybe it's maybe easier. I don't know. I mean, that's why I'm asking maybe if we'll be using a software or on paper.
I see. Yes, you are right. It is very well known that software usually aids people in actually expressing themselves more in a visual sense. Okay, so I totally understand where you're coming from. Also because when you're using a pen, for example, or a mouse, because there's the alternative of not using the pen on a tablet, but a mouse, or you can also use vertices in design, for example. In that sense, at the end of the day, you will definitely be further aided by the software itself. Okay.
Okay.
But that will be in Visual 2. That will be in Visual 2. Now we're just going to more or less challenge you guys, and if you hate it, then I don't suggest that you choose Visual 2. But if you love it, then I do suggest that you go for Visual 2. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Super, thank you. Mela, so what's left is for me to start with my first presentation, but before I do that, I would like to have a bit of a chat with you with regards to what I do. Now, if you were to scroll up in the chat, okay, of Visual 1, okay, you would see, for example, some of the things that I have shared with my full-time class. This is my passion. My passion is basically my master's thesis was about virtual reality, 360 filming, and augmented reality, but mainly virtual reality and augmented reality and 360 filming. I entered the world of 360 filming around 5 years ago, when basically virtual reality and 360 filming were something that were just blooming again since the 80s, because at one point in the 80s there were some experiments that were going on by this fantastically genius and crazy individual who was obsessed about virtual reality, but obviously they did not have the hardware. Today we know that we have the hardware for virtual reality. We have very powerful machines. We have very powerful headsets. We have even not so powerful headsets, which are not there for development, but are there simply to view the results of development. For example, we have Google Cardboard or similar objects which can be used for virtual reality. But virtual reality is, I think, and 360 filming is a very amazing way of how to spread empathy. And in fact, my thesis was about the experimenting of empathy and the increase of empathy when using virtual reality in 360 film. So I don't know if you're seeing them in chat. Are you seeing those videos, those YouTube videos by any chance? Scroll up, brilliant. So I sent them some of the works and the experiments and the studies that I've been involved in. The first one is a 360 degree of Mdina by night. So that's where we attach the 360 camera, 4K camera to a drone, quite a stable drone, a DJI. The second one is an FPV with a 360 camera. Also, FPV would be a racing drone. So there I was experimenting with stabilization. I was experimenting with speed, and obviously these two you need to also experience them on the chair, which we have in 136. Have you ever been to 136, you guys? Ever? Room 136 by any chance? No. Oh, it's a shame. We have developed a chair at work. We have developed this chair which is on pistons, and it literally emulates the movements that you feel in a 360 film or in VR. So basically, when you have the headset and you're sitting on the chair, basically sort of you move according to the inclinations of whatever's happening inside the experience. So the experience is really augmented, and trust me, it's amazing. It's just amazing. The next experience is the first instances of the Great Siege in Malta, and also in 360 film. Then we have Autism VR, where you take the place of an autistic child, and you experience being an autistic child and how the world looks at you and how you see the world around you, which also is an experiment about empathy. The next project is a 4K experience of a quartet. We have two individuals with violins. There's an individual with a cello, and there's another individual with a flute, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, there I was experimenting with binaural sound, with three-dimensional sound, using binaural equipment to capture this sound. And I think if you manage to view this video using a Google Cardboard and using earbuds or earphones, trust me, you will be mesmerized by the extreme detail of the music and how the music is very predefined in 3D space. It's very interesting, very interesting. The next one was done with a guy who used to work with us, not anymore now. He's at university, Dylan. And it was a 360 film on the sea. Again, it was about stabilization, and the last three pictures are basically something that I did with 3D printing and painting, where I did part of a couple of bookends for Basic, the manga. That's some of the things I do. I'm an artistic person. I like to consider myself so. I paint, I draw, I draw in digital sense, I draw in actual sense, I draw with oils and acrylics and stuff like that also. I do some 3D art, but not a lot. I don't really like 3D art. It's very complex, and animation too, I don't like it. I did not really want to go in there. It's too time consuming. I'm very much of a sporadic and short-lived artist. That is, I spend like half an hour, and that's it. I want to move on to something else. I'm teaching currently. I'm teaching marketing, namely advertising and promotion, and brands and branding, and also management and leadership in the business section, in the business department. And over here, I'm teaching, as you're seeing, the visual 1. I used to teach visual 2 also, and I also teach storytelling, traditional storytelling. At first year also. No, sorry, storytelling is at second year. Storytelling is in second year. I come from a strange background, because originally I started off as taking a BA in English and International Relations. Then I decided to become a teacher, did a postgraduate course in education. Then I decided to do a master's in fine arts and digital arts, because I wanted to really go into my artistic studies more than what I used to do before, because I didn't need a job anymore, so I could actually study something that I love doing. So I did the Masters in Fine Arts and Digital Arts, and soon, hopefully, I will be launching in my PhD, which would definitely encapsulate virtual reality. So fingers crossed over there. But in the meantime, there's my 3-year-old, and obviously a PhD and the 3-year-old don't really go together, so I need to wait a bit. So that's me. Hobbies: I love reading. I don't have time to read. I love drawing and painting. I don't have time for that anymore. The only thing that I have time for is literally Netflix and films, and any type of films, really. Movies, I love movies, because I also teach film theory. So obviously I love watching movies, and I love studying movies. In fact, watching a movie with me is actually very tiring, because I tend to stop a movie and comment about it every 5 minutes. So it's not really fun. I really get into it. That's me. Okay, that's me. I think I told you quite a lot. I'm not sure if I missed out on anything, but that's basically me. Okay, guys, any questions you'd like to ask? Yes, no? Really? Did I mesmerize you, or did I put you to sleep? Or a mix of both?
No, just shy.
Oh, you're shy. Okay. Totally acceptable. Totally acceptable. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. Okay, so as I told you, the first question I'm going to ask you is this: what is art? And technically speaking, I will not be answering the question myself, and I don't think we will ever answer that question. But what I would like you guys to do right now is to think a bit, and in the deepest of the recesses in your brain, in your mind, how would you define art according to you? According to Alexandru, according to Brigitte, according to Gavin, Jamie, Maria, Luke, what is art according to you guys? It doesn't matter if it's a wrong answer. There isn't right or wrong. I just want to hear about your opinion about art. Can you do that for me? Just a quick and short answer. No need for complications. I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about it, and then you can tell me. So, who would like to start, please? Anyone? Please. Mm-hmm. And, so something beyond the written word, something beyond the spoken word. Okay, great. Thank you, Alex. And let's go to Bridget.
Yeah, something that that captivates the attention of people, and maybe something that makes other people feel something as well, or look at something in a new way.
Something in a new way. I like that. I like that. Hang on to that, Bridget. Really hang on to that, because you are going to need it in the next few slides. Thank you, Bridget, for that. Let's go to Gavin, please.
I guess it's a way for one to like express himself or his ideas or something.
Self-expression. You can stop there. Self-expression. I like that also, Gavin. Thank you. Self-expression. Okay, so self-expression doesn't need to be something that other people like, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And there was someone amongst you at one point. I think it was you, Jamie, who said that you don't like modern art. You don't like the art that is being created right now, and the art of Picasso and so on and so forth, right, Jamie? I'm not accusing you, Jamie.
I wasn't made of. I mean, there is art which I don't like.
No, you're right. Sorry. A thousand apologies, sir, if I may.
No worries, no worries.
So it was you, Luke, if I'm not mistaken, right? Luke, you still with us?
Hello. Yes.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, it was you who said that you don't like art that is a bit too modern in a way. It's not so representative.
Not exactly modern, because modern art can be anything.
Yes, what I'm saying is more expressive art.
Yes, like for example, the ones that Pollock, the paintings of Pollock.
Pollock,
I don't.
okay.
Yeah, like I think a kid could do that in kindergarten. That's my
Like
impression.
avant-garde, what's it called, Sarah? That kind of.
Impressionist, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Drip painting.
Drip painting, or there was another one that just put symmetrical lines with different colors.
Can I explain something to you though? Look,
Yes.
because if you were to say this thing in in a kindergarten school, they would most probably arrest you, even though you are a policeman. Let me tell you why. Because you said that it could be probably done by a young child in a school. Because technically speaking, for Pollock to be able to do that kind of art, he actually intoxicated himself with drugs and alcohol to a level where he had no idea if he was sane or not. So he basically lost himself in absolute intoxication. So he had no hindrance, no inhibitions, no social associations, nothing. And he locked himself up in this room before he actually obviously intoxicated himself. And then he would start painting in this state of inebriation. Literally in this state, in this really weird and strange mental state. And then obviously he would wake up in the morning literally lying down semi-naked or fully naked on his artwork. He would have puked himself 3 or 4 times and shot himself most probably and peed himself from all the inebriation and the drugs and whatnot. And then when he would leave, he would clean himself up. Then he would let a couple of days pass. Then he would go back, go on one of these tennis chairs, these umpire chairs, look at his work, the work that he had done whilst in a really, really, really effed up state, and then he would choose a part of it. Interesting, right? And like that, he was allowing his the part of him which was sane or sane according to society, to choose the part of him which was insane or insane according to society. Does it make sense?
It makes sense, but when I see the art itself, I don't really.
You're not impressed.
No, not at all.
you like WTF.
I'm more like I prefer like I don't know, Caravaggio, Bernini,
And
Michelangelo, and stuff like that, rather than.
yes. Okay, fair enough. Okay, great, thank you. So, thank you, Gavin and Jamie. Would you care, Jamie, to give us an expression, an answer to the question according to yourself, obviously, what is art?
I believe that any creation of the mind of someone's imagination, and it's given to people to give a sort of like feeling, or even like his own ideas. That everything can be a form of art. It can be music, it can be like masonry, like what I do. Drawing, I mean, it's vast. It's really vast when you ask what art is. It can be in any form, basically.
In fact, as I said, it's not easy to answer the question itself because art is so vast, art is so big, art is so astounding that it is incredible how such a tiny little word can actually signify so much meaning. And sometimes it is misconstrued meaning because we do not really appreciate the existentialist nature of art. We do not appreciate the humongousness of art. We do not understand art. Although we constantly live in a world of art. And sometimes we also underestimate art. I remember when I used to teach art per se, literally drawing and painting, at secondary level at school, ages ago, 15, 20 years ago. I remember one of my main fights, one of my main arguments was with the management in schools because they had this very effed up idea that they used to place these the weaker students in the art class and the more intelligent students in the science classes or the maths class or the accounts and so on and so forth. And they used to tell them directly, if you think that you are mentally challenged, or if you think that you can't make it, or if you think that you are slow or weak, we have the best option for you, which is art and home economics. And there used to be this kind of, and little did they know that 10, 15 years later, 20 years later, art would be such a strong element in so many things around us. And you don't necessarily need to know how to paint with a brush or whatever. Art can, again, as we said, take ferment itself in so many various forms. Thank you, Jamie.
Exactly.
Maria.
Well, basically, for making art, it's something that inspires imagination. It portrays emotions and it makes people feel and or think, basically, and it provokes the senses. I don't know if that makes sense.
I love that. I love you can stop there. You can stop there because you said something which I really like, because sometimes I would be looking for that phrase from everything that you say. It provokes the senses. Hang on to that. Bridget, I told you that you need to hang on to something. Do you remember what it is?
Yes, look at something in a new way.
Yep. Mela, look at something in a new way. So I would like people to take note of it, to look at something or regard something in a new way. And Maria told us
something that provokes the senses.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Provokes the senses. I'm writing them down too, because we're definitely getting back to those two statements. And it was the females in the group which came up with the phrases which I like the most, which is very interesting also. I think females are more in tune with the feelings. That is something that I think, okay? That is not science, please. So guys, do not jump on me, but I believe that females are more in tune with their feelings. So I believe that females are sometimes more able to say what they feel rather than guys. Guys would be feeling something, but they wouldn't be able to say it. For example, my partner is one of them. My partner actually has this uncanny way of saying exactly how, what she feels, whilst it takes me ages to be able to express myself. Unless obviously it's through direct physical art. Mela, so we are going to try to determine a definition for art. We're going to decide what is actually art and what is not art. So we're going to have a heyday here. Look, I'm going to bust your senses, huh? Look, you're going to hate me or love me, I don't know, but trust me, I'm going to push you to the limits. We're going to define terms related to the viewing of art. We're going to examine images critically. To images, that is, we're going to compare and contrast, because we're going to see other images. In fact, I did a bit of a choice of images. We can actually have a look at many more, and I will be introducing a couple more, especially seeing that you're adults and you can criticize in a much more open manner. And we're going to try to answer this question: what is art? What are the different types of art? How does art influence society? What is art? Why is art important? What sort of messages does art have? These are the questions that we're going to tackle. And the first subject for today's discussion is this. This is an interesting painting that most of you would know. I'm not interested in who painted it. I'm not interested in when it was painted. I'm not interested in the style at all. This is not an art class. We're not learning about history of art. We're not learning art per se. We are just challenging concepts, okay? So my question to you guys is this. Do you think this is art, or do you think this is not art? Simple question. Give it to me, guys.
It is art.
Okay, you don't need to explain yourself. Just tell me what you think. Okay.
Yes.
It is art.
Okay, I haven't heard Luke yet.
Yes. It's art.
Okay. So we have a general understanding that this is art. And I will not ask you why, because most probably if I ask you why, you will have a lot of differentiation, but most probably it is because you can actually recognize the subject. Most probably because there's a lot of vibe about it, sort of it's the Mona Lisa, otherwise known as La Gioconda. It was painted by Da Vinci, which was a genius. It was painted at the time that art was being rediscovered, after it had been lost from the Greek times, and so on and so forth. But ultimately, we know it is art because the way it was painted was a very particular way. Because ultimately, Da Vinci discovered in the creation of this painting that for him to be able to really portray the outside flesh, okay, of a human being, so basically the skin, how the skin is reacting to what is going on underneath, he needs to start from the basics. He needs to start from the inside. So he needs to start from the skeleton first, then the organs, then the muscles, and then applying the skin over the muscles, and hence he came up with this very enigmatic, what is called enigmatic expression, because it is a buildup of sinew and muscle and organ and blood and everything, from the deepest layers, exactly as we create 3D imaging on Maya, for example, and so on and so forth, through extrusion. That is how we create 3D images, right? And basically, Da Vinci 500 years ago was doing exactly the same thing. The difference that he was doing it on using a paintbrush on an easel, and he was painting it on a canvas. Okay, technically speaking, this Gioconda is very tiny and I don't know why there is such a vibe and a hype, actually, because I don't know if you ever went to the Louvre, but it's super tiny, and you have to stand like really far away from it. You can't really see anything, and it's not as incredible as one says it is. But what Da Vinci did over here, and what he discovered in its rendering was, let's say, another step forward for humanity. Let's go to the second one. What do you guys think? Same question: art or not art? Definitely art.
Art.
Okay.
Yeah, same art.
Okay. All right. This is The Death of Marat by David, French painter. It's a beautiful enigmatic painting. Again, it has a lot of enigma in it because it has a theatrical style. And we see that there's a one spot lighting. We see a style which was very similar to the style of Caravaggio. That we have a couple of paintings of Caravaggio at St. John's. What is it called now? St. John's.
Cathedral.
Thank you. Exactly, in Valletta. There's the beheading of St. John, and there's St. Jerome, if I'm not mistaken. There's two paintings. The beheading of St. John is the biggest painting, largest painting. It's beautiful. And it's even the only signed painting by Caravaggio himself. And it also has this very enigmatic approach, theatrical approach, because there's that single phase lighting, which is, it's like it's being lit in a very theatrical fashion. And in fact, when you look at it, you start asking questions. What is happening? What happened before? What's going to happen after? Is he dead? Was he killed? Did he kill himself? What is he writing? What's written over there? Okay, so you start actually thinking about the story behind this image. So it provokes thought. It provokes senses. So Maria, it provokes individuals to ask more questions. Okay, let's move on. What do you think about this, guys?
Art.
Art.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Again, please.
Yeah, art.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's art.
Okay, Luke.
Yes, it's art.
Luke tends to stand back a bit and wait for the others to answer, just in case. I'm assuming that he is having second thoughts about being Shismu, just in case he's attacked.
Actually, I just went further through the presentation, and I saw things I did not like.
What's up?
I think you shocked him with you not liking fonts.
He just left.
Final straw.
Be careful what you say, Loco, next time. Just say yes.
I think so. Yes. I saw the presentation and I saw a chair, and I was like, what the.
I knew it. He's wrote it.
The funny thing is, my partner is currently studying history of art, and she's behind me, and every comment I make, she's glaring at me.
I wonder if that's the end of the lesson then, if he has no power. He says he has a power chip, no? Hmm.
Are you hearing me, Gavin? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, we
Hi.
can hear you.
Hello.
Hi. I'm working from my phone. I managed to connect through using my 4G. I don't know if you saw my last message. We just had a power cut. Brilliant timing, as usual. 2022, yay. We're still having power cuts. But I guess that has become a norm. Okay, so to continue on what Luke was saying, yes, and that was something that I really wanted to get to today. But obviously now at this point I can't, because I can't put on my PowerPoint and so on and so forth. But definitely something that we'll be starting off with next week. Okay, so we'll go on with the second stage of painting. But obviously I would like to offer some explanations, okay, and I would also like to hear your opinions. In the meantime, I've managed to have a look at the stuff on chat that you've been writing. For example, Brigitte wrote something that captivates someone's attention, that makes you look at something ordinary in a new way. Brigitte, again, thank you. That is something that's definitely going to be applied to a couple of slides that I have ready for you guys. Gavin, a way to express oneself, something through their medium of choice. And the medium of choice can be anything in reality. Even a stonemason has a medium of choice, and he can create something, exorbitant, something so amazing in reality. Maria Mikalev, something that inspires the imagination, portrays emotions, and makes a person feel and think. Exactly, it creates a thoughtful process. Brilliant. And Alexandru, I like what you said, Alexandru, especially in the second part, where first you said imagery has a deeper connection to feelings and emotions compared to words. Yes. And then you said, you mentioned the word intoxication. Yes, art can be intoxicating, especially when you are hearing, listening, seeing something which is even more, at heart. That is something which is very interesting. So I'm going to stop the session here, sadly, because I was really enjoying it myself. I hope that you were enjoying it too. I really hope that. But obviously I can't continue without my presentation, without my stuff. I hope you don't mind, guys. But we'll definitely meet next week, usual time at 6 o'clock, and we'll continue exactly from where we left off. Do you have any questions, guys, or any comments that you'd like to pass? You're good.
If I may, I have a question because with regards to my comment that it provokes the senses art. For example, it can, all the senses, the visual, auditory, those are common art.
Yes.
But like for example, the touch, the taste, and the smell. Like for example, I don't know, like perfumes. They may be considered like a kind of art if they're taken for their, like that it provokes like a good feeling. Maybe, or am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. Let me tell you something. One of the problems with art is that sometimes when we describe something as being artistic, we are on the verge of suffering a possibility, something from happening, which is that the effort, the work will be degraded into being simply described in an offhand manner as art. And sometimes when something is described as art, people do not take it seriously. So a lot of artistic creation is similar, what you've said yourself is the creation of, for example, a perfume, okay, which is something extremely intense, and you need to be extremely talented, and you need to know how to mix, for example, even the mixing of creams and so it can be very artistic, but it's been associated more with science. Because obviously, if you associate yourself with science, automatically you assume a very important place in the social standards and social rankings. But if you associate yourself with art, automatically you are going to be, in a way, disregarded. That is, in my belief, the main explanation for that. Why some elements are not seen as artistic, but are seen more as scientific.
Yes, it makes sense actually, because as you said, it's more it's seen more as scientific. But for me, it's not always like that.
No, definitely not. If you look at an eau de toilette or an eau de parfum, and you see exactly the process that goes into it. For example, even when you just look at the packaging, right?
Yes, they have to be really like creative in the way that they can grab just a person's attentions just from the color or the shape, for example.
Yes. And also get you to understand the possible smells that you're going to and that you'll be anticipating in the product itself. For example, I can, just by looking at the packing of a perfume, at the packaging itself, I can immediately know if it's going to be my style or not my style.
Okay. That's good.
And that is very artistic. Why? Because you're using the visual senses to be able to give an indication, of the scientific work which goes behind the production of the perfume. Okay.
So I think it's very difficult to achieve that. That part to like portray just from the visual aspect to know exactly if you like
to
it.
go beyond. Yes. And obviously, not just to create something like that, but to make it work, to actually get it to work. Because obviously, I'm going, most probably I'm going, okay, you're going to smell a perfume, there's going to be a tester or something. But the first thing in Maltese we say, L-ewwel ma tik online. So roughly translated into, I don't know, the eye is the first thing that will be interested in the object itself. Seeing is believing. Seeing is getting excited, seeing the object, seeing the item. So if the message that is being passed is a wrong message, obviously it will be to the detriment of the organization, the brand, because obviously they're going to lose sales. So they obviously need to be very accurate. Okay, and as you said, it's not easy at all. So in fact, the amazing thing is that we actually have so many artists that are working constantly around us to facilitate our life and to make our life look better, feel better. But at times I don't think we notice these artists. At times we don't really understand that it's art. If we see an advert, for example, if we see a video, if we see a film, if we see whatever we see around us, which is visual, there are artists who have been involved. Okay, there are story writers, storyboarders, directors. There's so many individuals who have been involved. But we don't realize that. We just look at the final production, take it as is, and that's it. We like it, we dislike it, and that's it. For example, we watch a movie, I don't like it, it's crap. It should have it should have been like that. So we don't appreciate the extent of work that has gone into the creation of that thing that we have just experienced sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. But I think it's partly because we have a lot of choice.
Too much. And I think we're being given too much choice, actually. Even in the world of social media, when a lot of artists are very much dependent, for example, on the opinion of their fans, which is something which I don't like. For example, I'm going just to say this and close down the lesson so that I don't keep you guys too much. But my 19-year-old son is infatuated incredibly by this particular singer, The Weeknd, who also describes himself as XO, and basically he's an interesting singer. He's got a very interesting and passionate background. He's Canadian. He's a black singer. He's got a very interesting style, and he changes his style frequently. Now, he just launched a new album recently, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and there was a lot of tweeting, a lot of comments on Instagram, on Facebook, etc., against this album, because the fans wanted the style that was of previous albums. I don't usually like the choices of my elder son, because usually those choices are a bit too blasé and too over the top. But this once, my son told me that his answer to these fans was, if you like that music, then go and listen to my previous album. This is my new music. Like it or not, I am the artist, and I admired him. And I admired him, because in the time of Picasso, in the time of Chardin, in the time of, I don't know, of Matisse and Degas and all those hundreds of artists who have changed the way we live today, and have changed the perceptions of life that we have today, and have changed the style of life that we have today. No one told them what to do. No one, push them in the way, in what they wanted them to see them do. All right, they just created art. They were misinterpreted in their time, or some of them, or most of them, died penniless. But then they were appreciated after many years. They were appreciated because people then discovered what they were trying to do, and that is art.
And that's unfortunate for them, because usually they get credit long after they're dead. So
yes.
It's a pity.
It is indeed. But it's very common, sadly.
Yes.
But today it's different. With social media, they're trying to make it different. They're trying to get the credit at a very young age. So obviously they become rich quick, which is a shame, because then obviously the artistic element would be lost. Because they would be paying too much attention to what the fans want rather than what they want to do as an artist, himself or herself. Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much. I wish you a good evening. Thank you for listening to my eulogies, perhaps, and my rantings. And I'll be seeing you next week, hopefully, God willing. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot. It was very interesting.
Thank you, sir.
Inspiring.
Thank you. Appreciate.
I think it's not next week. It's the week after, right?
It's the week after. You're right. Next week I have Jonathan.
All right. Okay. Just checking.
Yes. My bad. I'm excited to teach you again, actually.
Yay. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Take care. Have a good evening. Ciao, ciao. Thanks, guys.
Hope your power comes back soon.
Cheers. I hope so too. Fingers crossed. Thanks.